Hey guys, welcome back. It is Vortie here, and we're going to be covering a little bit about the new news that's come out here. We're just going to be looking at the actual banner itself as far as the story and what's coming out as well. We can't really cover too much of it because it's going to be a part of the story. So let's jump into that. We'll take a look at it, and then you guys let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about the new units and what kind of information you guys might have that I might not have covered or maybe missed. So just help a bro out, all right? So this came out a few days ago. The Grand Serpent Ultima is actually coming out, so I think that's everybody's aware of that already. It's going to be the Final Fantasy Tactics Part 2 event going live. Then right after that, we're going to get the time for Revenge, which is going to be a story event. It's going to be introducing the new characters that are going to be joining Final Fantasy Brave Exvius's roster. We're going to be able to pull these guys finally, and I'm super excited as I'm a big fan of the Veritas. They're my favorite within the game. But yeah, anyways, you're gonna get a chance to go through all these events. You're gonna get a lot of cool items, like a great sword that does dark element, protective armor. It just looks super cool, all robotic looking, and it looks great. And the items, you remember, these are free, so the stats on them are based on free stuff, but you're going to be wasting a lot of energy to try and get through the story event, and a chance to get some of the park crests and elk crests, which is fantastic. As you can see there's a bunch of different items you're going to be able to get. I'll cover this story probably. I might do the whole thing because I'm a huge fan of the Veritas, and I'll probably record everything and make it live so you guys can see how I'm going through the story, as I'm, like I said, a huge fan of the Veritas. With that being said, there's going to be a featured banner that's going to let you summon the Veritas. You're going to be getting the Veritas of Earth, which is going to be a 4-star base, going to 6-star, very good tank. Veritas of Dark is going to be your 5-star Kahuna, probably the guy you kind of want to aim for, as he's the best of the Veritas so far. He goes from 5-star to 6-star, and then Veritas of Flame is going to be sharing the throne currently with Dark Veritas, which kind of sucks, but he's also a 5-star base, going to 6-star. His ranking is a little bit lower on the scale there, but he's still a very phenomenal unit. He gets some cool abilities. And then you got Victoria, who goes from 4-star to 6-star. She's a Black Mage style unit. And then you got Timothy, and we'll just leave Timothy as going to be our fairy, and he's probably going to be that mythical creature you probably don't really want. Okay, so let's jump into the units here. I'll try and sum it up as fast as possible. I'm going to be talking pretty quick. I don't want to waste too much time on this banner, because so not on the banner. I don't want to waste too much time on the units because I want to wait to see once the update goes live and everything goes through, so we can see if there's been any changes to these units before I can say, like, yeah, this is really for show. So, Veritas of Dark. Big Kahuna here. He's marketed as a damage dealer. Overall stats are really good. His Trust Mastery is Sworn 6's Pride Dark, and what that means is it boosts attack when equipped with a large sword or heavy armor. It does 30%, so it's either or. If you're wearing a large sword, you will get a 30% boost. If you're wearing a heavy armor, you will get a 30% boost, which means I don't think it stacks. Unless I'm wrong, please let me know in the comment section below, but I'm really curious. I remember the Japanese version, I don't think these stack, but they could. So you guys let me know in the comment section below. Overall, his abilities here that they're showing, kind of his best abilities, is called Impact, Dark Punishment, and Dark Edge. So Dark Edge is kind of like his big damage dealing move, like a single target, one hit. He does damage, dark damage. He ignores, it's a 2x multiplier. He ignores defense by 50%, and he will add dark element damage to his physical attacks for 5 turns, which is really good because he is a dark based unit. And then the next move above that is called Dark Punishment. It does physical 2x multiplier damage and ignores defense by 50%, and will decrease the resistance by 50% for 3 turns to the enemy. This move is similar to Orlando's Divine Ruination, whereas Divine Ruination just does physical damage, and we're depending on wearing Excalibur for the light boost on his damage. Dark Veritas actually can do Dark Edge first, and then right after Dark Edge do Dark Punishment for the maximum amount of damage, because that physical damage move now becomes a dark based move. So once he hits it with the one weapon or the first strike, it's going to reduce its resistance by 50%, effectively making your damage even more powerful, especially if you're wearing something like Dark Cecil's sword, which is a dark element weapon anyways. It's gonna make you do a ton of damage, even though you might not have a ton of damage posted as your modifier, saying like, oh, he does like 1000 damage. He's gonna do a lot of that elemental damage that is attached to him, which is really good. And then Impact is an interesting little move here. Essentially what it is, it's like a spell. You can cast it. It's a 2.1 multiplier damage to everyone, and it decreases attack, defense, magic, and spirit by 45%, which is really nice. It's an AoE debuff. It's just like, hey, I'm the Dark Veritas, you know, and everybody's like, oh no, and then they all like weakened because of his awesomeness. Really, really cool. He also has another cool mechanic that's kind of being introducing more and more. It's the counter mechanic, where you counter, it's cool, but when you counter and have a unique ability, that's something that's kind of being forced on more. He gets an ability called Dark Retribution. He will decrease the resistance by 100% for 3 turns to that one enemy that hit him, which is really nice considering he's a dark based unit. Very, very cool. The next unit down here is going to be the Flame. Dark and Flame. So Dark Veritas is cool. Veritas of Flame is badass. He just looks really, really cool. I like the whole idea behind the axe. Again, marketed as a damage dealer. Same idea, 5-star going to 6-star. He's sharing the throne, as I said. His thing is called Sworn Six's Pride Fire. It's the same idea as the Dark Veritas, except his is with axes, whereas Dark Veritas is with great swords. Same thing, 30% on the heavy armor as well. Looking at his abilities, he's got a few abilities that are pretty cool here. The one is called Fiery Retribution, then Flaming Axe and Earthen Axe. Flaming Axe and Earthen Axe are literally a replica of each other. It's just that one makes it a fire attack when he can do fire damage. The other one is earth, which buffs is earth damage, or gives us a physical attacks earth damage. Really, really cool. The two abilities that they don't show on here, which is what Dark Veritas shares with him, it's called Defensive Barrier. Dark Veritas and Veritas of Flame have an ability called Defensive Barrier, which will cast an AoE 20% reduction for 3 turns on all allies. Really, really badass. It's cool to have that ability on a damage dealer. When you know there's a big move coming up, you buff everyone, you're like, I'm good, we're good, we'll take 20% less damage. It's not going to completely save you from a very devastating attack, but it really can reduce the damage and prevent you from maybe dying or having somebody get destroyed really quickly. And the two other abilities that are not being shown on here, they're really cool. One is called Inspire. It's an AoE buff for all allies. It's attack and magic 80% buff for everyone. Really, really, really nice. We do have new units coming out that are doing 100%, but they kind of get incapacitated. Like, for example, Ramza, he sings. As long as he's singing, you're getting 100% buff. Whereas this guy, he casts it, and he's free for 2 turns. And if you have to cast it again, you can, right? And then the other move I wanted to mention is called Heavy Stomp. It's this big damage-dealing move. He hits a single target for a 2.5 times multiplier, and ignores their defense by 50%. He hits pretty hard, and you can do that one whenever you want. Now, again, mentioning as the Dark Veritas, they have that counter mechanic. Well, Flames' counter is even better. So when he counters, he's got, I believe it's one of his counter thing is called Fiery Retribution, which is a chance to counter magic by 20% with Fiery Retribution. And what that means is he will decrease the resistance to that unit that attacked them with magic by 100% of fire, which is really sick. But then he's got another one called Uplift. Chance to counter physical attacks by 30%, which will enable a move called Full Charge. He does physical damage of a 5 times multiplier and ignores defense by 50%. As well, on top of the 20%, he already has a chance of countering the magic with the Fire Retribution. He's got an additional 30% chance, separate from the 20%, of also triggering Uplift, which he will again do Full Charge Stomp. So you technically have a 30-30-20 of casting 3 different abilities, which is really, really nice. Well, 2 of the same and 1 different ability, and that 5 times multiplier is sick. You kind of, if he does get hit, even though he's not a tank, he's gonna have a chance of having this really sick ability become active the next turn, where you can just devastate the unit that's attacking you. Very cool, especially if you put a bunch of fire things on him, and then before that you did Flame Axe, so your physical attacks are already doing fire damage, and you reduced his fire resistance, and on top of that you're going to be doing the full charge with that. You're gonna poop all over that unit, especially if they're not immune or have any type of resistance to fire. You're gonna do some devastating damage. So overall, the Veritas of Fire, even though he's sharing the throne with the Dark Veritas, who is better, he's actually a really, really solid unit. If you get either of the two, you should be very happy, as they are pretty powerful. I mean, they're not gonna take, like, Veritas Flame is not gonna take the top throne, but he's still really good. And I don't want you guys to feel like you're like, oh, I lost because I got the Veritas of Flame. Oh no. Anyways, let's take a look at the next kahuna here, which is the guy I'm probably the most excited about. Veritas of Earth. I don't know what it is with me, but I love really crazy, powerful looking shields. Back in the day when I was a lot younger, I used to play a game called World of Warcraft. You guys might have heard it. Small MMO. And I used to play a gnome. At one point, I was a gnome warrior, and I remember when warriors were like tanks or whatever, and I got this shield from this one event where the shield was like literally 2 times as big as me. I had it on my back, and I absolutely fell in love with the idea of having this big, powerful shield that can protect you. And the Veritas of Earth kind of shows you that. He's like, look at this massive ass shield that I got. It's so huge, and it's like a nice design. So I absolutely love that idea of him. His model, it looks incredible. Alright, looking at him as a unit, he's a 4-star base going to a 5-star, oh sorry, 6-star, which is really good for him. His Trust Mastery is called Sworn 6 Pride Earth. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a theme going on here. So what his says here is boost defense when equipped with a heavy shield, of course, and attack when equipped with heavy armor. Great. So with what's different from him and what's different from the other 2 Veritas we saw, his says and, which means you get both boosts. So if he's wearing a heavy shield, he will get an increase of defense by 40%, which is huge. And then if he's wearing heavy armor, which he more than likely will be because he's a tank, he gets an additional 40% attack boost because of that heavy armor. That is sick. That is a really, really nice Trust Mastery to have on any of your tanks, because most of them are wearing shields, and if you really want a good tank, you want to have a heavy shield because it's got more armor. It's normally got some better stats, and they're going to be wearing heavy armor anyways because they want that big boost of defense or spirit. So this is a very, very, very good Trust Mastery to have on any tank, especially on the Veritas of Earth, because of how he plays. Alright, so looking at his moves here, he did get a global upgrade called Guardian, but we're going to take a look at all the things here. So he's got one Incinerating Press, damage one enemy and increase chance of being targeted, which is really nice. He's got Natural Provoke in his kit, hell yeah. He's got Steel Body, boost own defense and spirit, and reduce damage taken for 3 turns. Are you kidding me? Making him so viable on a single target is badass. Then he gets Guardian, which is a chance of taking physical damage for all allies, which is an interesting move. He's kind of like fighting for that spot right now with Warrior of Light. Warrior of Light can do some other things that he can't, but this guy is fighting for that spot. And honestly, with this little global upgrade, he can kind of take over. And the only thing that's kind of holding him back is the fact, like, how are you gonna, like, where are you gonna put him in there? So essentially, what's happening with Warrior of Light, he's got 100% light resistance. 100%? Yeah, 100% light resistance once you buff him and whatever. Which makes him very viable for units that do light damage. But then after that, he's kind of falling off, and Veritas of Earth can really be his replacement. That's how I feel, and we'll take a look at his abilities right now. So, Guardian, which is the global upgrade that he got, is chance to protect all allies from physical damage 60%, with mitigation of 35% physical and 35% magic. So he's got a 60% chance to jump in front of a unit. The thing about this move, it's just like Warrior of Light, so you have to cast it. It's not passive. If it was passive, this would be insane. So you have to cast this move called Guardian, and then you have a 60% chance of jumping in front of everyone and reducing their damage by 35% for physical and magic, which is not that bad. Okay, his Incinerating Press, which is a big hitting move, in my opinion. It does physical damage, and it's like a 2.7 multiplier, and it's an AoE. And it will increase the chance of you being targeted by 100% for 2 turns. So think about that. You're dealing damage, his strongest move, and then on top of that, you're going to be targeted by 100%. So no matter what, you're going to get hit. That's a very nice move to have. Being able to deal damage and then steal all the hate. It's perfect. That's kind of what you want. The other things that they don't mention within his little kit here, he learns a thing called Omni Block. It increases resistance to status breaks by 100% for 3 turns to all allies. This is a new ability that we've never had before. You have ones where you can remove it with other characters, but this one, it just makes you immune to it, which is really nice. If you know there's a big move coming out, it's gonna break all your units with all their status breaks. Be like, nah, bruh, I ain't having any of that. Nuh-uh. Omni Block goes up, you're good. Putting him in a situation that's unique from what you have with Warrior of Light. If you're going to be getting broken all the time and it's like an AoE break, you're going to want to bring the Veritas of Earth along rather than bringing Warrior of Light. Okay, he also has the same thing as all the Veritas do. He's got the Defensive Barrier, reduces damage by 20% for 3 turns to all allies, and he also will boost 100% Earth resistance to all allies when he casts another move called Earth Ward, which is really good. The other move here they mention is Steel Body. Steel Body will decrease damage taken by 20% for 3 turns and increase defense and spirit by 50% for 3 turns to the caster. So if you have him on a rotation when you're tanking with them, you would probably cast something like Guardian first, unless you're not taking damage the first turn, I would probably use Steel Body first, then Guardian, and then if you don't have the hate already, you might want to do Incinerating Press, or do Incinerating Press first, and then next turn I would probably do Steel Body and then Guardian to make sure that they can kind of keep going. And then after that, you're gonna have all of them up. Guardian being 3 turns, and the other ones being the Incinerating Press being the weakest one. You probably want to cast Steel Body and Guardian first, and then keep rotating Incinerating Press as you need the hate, right? So as far as that goes, he's pretty good. He does learn a passive ability called Earth Lord, which absorbs earth damage taken. So he gets hit by earth damage, he absorbs it. It also increases his defense by 100% when hit point drops by below 30, and it will also increase his spirit by 100% if it drops below 30%. So when this guy goes below 30%, this guy becomes quite undefeatable. So it's pretty good. He does learn some magic as well regarding the earth, but you know, that's what's expected. So let's take a look at these other 2 units, which I don't have a ton of information on, but we'll cover them anyways. The next one here is Victoria. She is a black mage. She's got a really good TM here. As you can see, her magic is pretty good. She's kind of a little bit better than, X-Death, but the problem with her is she's focused mostly on dark spells, which kind of pigeonholes her into being just a dark mage. She just does dark magic. But anyways, Dark Robe, 35 defense, 55 magic, nice. Spirit 20, Dark Resistance 30, very good. She learns Dark Ga, Time Crush, and Overflow as the ability that they're kind of saying are the best about her, which is whatever. Looking at Overflow deals dark damage by a 2.2 multiplier, and it will get better every time you cast it. It increases its damage by 1.2 multiplier, so you can get pretty high, and I believe you can go up to 7 times. So consecutively casting it, you can do some crazy damage. The thing that's really cool about her Overflow chains. It's 10 times. It does 10 hits. So you can, if you have 2 or 3 of her and you keep casting them on the 3rd or 4th turn, they're going to be chaining so hard that they're going to be doing some crazy damage. Really, really cool. That's the thing about her that's kind of nice. But other than that, she gets Time Crush, which is like a stop move, and then she learns a Dark Gut, which is dark damage to everyone. It's 1.8 multiplier. It's similar to all the other Gust spells. It's meh. She also does learn Firaja, which is pretty cool. Allows you to consecutively cast it and does more and more damage. And then she does learn Meteor, which is the reason I kind of put her up there with X-Death. And she could be a viable replacement for X-Death. And she does get dual black magic in her kit naturally when she becomes a 6-star. So overall, her direct competition is going to be X-Death. It's just that the elements she covers is a little bit smaller. She does do the dark, the fire, and then the meteor. So overall, she's an okay unit. If you do get her and you don't have X-Death, I would probably level her up. I will probably be leveling up at least 1 or 2 of them, just because you never know when you're going to need mages to chain, and that Overflow ability is really, really cool, right? And then looking at the Timothy here, who's the guy I'm like, this is kind of silly. But anyways, wrapping up the video here with our friend Timothy. His job is Sprite. His stats are overall just horrendously useless. His hit points are weak. His spirit is the best thing on him. But other than that, like, he's just like, eh. His hat, though, is really good. It is designed for a caster or a healer or a support. It gives you MP plus 15%, which is pretty good, but you get Magic Spirit 35. This is actually a really nice buff to have on a hat. So honestly, as far as it goes, he's just going to be a TM unit. I don't see any other useful things for him yet. His selection of weapons, by the way, is terrible. He can only use a harp, so very, very crappy. He's just literally like more like a, did they show it here? Yeah, so he's like a support unit. He's a debuffer rather. So he's got moves called Mischief, Harsh Words, and Ominous Words, okay? So looking at Mischief here, it decreases fire, ice, and lightning resistance by 40%. Harsh Words will decrease water, wind, and earth resistance by 40%. Both of those are for 3 turns. He learns another one called Ominous Words, which is interesting. Decreases light and dark resistance by 40% for 3 turns. He also has a few different ones because he's a breaking unit, or debuffing unit, as I like to call him. He's got one called Attack, Defense, Magic, and Spirit, and it's like Attack kill, Defense kill, Spirit kill. And it reduces that set thing. So Attack reduces attack by 50%, so he breaks it. Very, very interesting. Overall, the unit is meh. He does learn, I think as he levels up, he learns interesting things like auto regen, auto protect, auto shell on himself. And then he also learns Entrust, which kind of gives you your limit burst to someone else. But for him, it's called like Cheeky One or something like that. Yeah, it is Cheeky One. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Overall, the unit is not very useful. Again, his Trust Mastery is really good, and I'll probably stick to that. So overall, I tried to keep this video as informative as possible. It is about 20 minutes long, so I apologize for that. But either way, I think you guys got everything you needed. Should you summon on this banner? Absolutely. Dark Veritas and Veritas of Flame are amazing units. And even if you don't get those guys and you get your hands on a Veritas of Earth, you should be very happy about that, because those units are incredible. So that is going to be going live tomorrow. So hopefully you guys are going to have a ton of luck. Let me know in the comments section below if I missed anything about the Veritas, or if there's some other information that maybe I should be aware of. But just from kind of doing a little bit of research on the train when I was on my way home today, I figured, you know what, this is a very, very good banner, and we're going to be pulling for it. I will probably be doing a little bit of pulls on it as well. I'm anticipating Onion Knight to be coming out very, very soon, so or Cloud. So I don't want to go too Arm & Hammer Bacon Soda, because I'm anticipating those really groundbreaking units. But this has me in a pinch because Dark Veritas is really good, and so the Veritas of Flame would be really nice to have. All right, guys. So yeah, again, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are planning on pulling or not, and if you are, which units do you want? All right. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that fun jazz, and I will see you guys in the next video. This is Vortie, and I'm out of here. Peace.
Aside.